low down.
We're here in Kent with grower Antony Redsell on a very dry and sunny day. We're just discussing where he's got to with his spraying, and I believe that the T1 spraying has just started on this farm.
Yes, so we have just finished spraying the forward cordial.
And it does appear to be very dry in these fields. Is this unusual? What's the situation?
This is pretty unusual. We've had 2 months of seriously below average rainfall, and things are pretty dry.
And your agronomist, James Rimmer, James, are you having to alter the plans for Antony's crops based on the weather? Or?
Nitrogen planning, yes. Fungicide planning, small adjustments, more to do with timing than anything else. Making sure that, obviously, each crop's got different varying disease levels in there and varying diseases. Making sure that we keep the crops clean moving forward, because the later drill crops are very clean, but we can't farm with hindsight. We need to cover the leaves that are there, and we know disease can come in, septoria can get in if you try and cut your corners. So we are not cutting our T1 back much, but moving it slightly timing wise.
Right, and are you seeing any diseases that you are not expecting to see, or is it anything different given the very dry conditions?
I'm seeing more uneven crops more than diseases I wouldn't expect to see. I'm seeing yellow rust, I'm seeing brown rust, I'm seeing high amounts of septoria in certain canopies. But it is so varied this year, depending on drilling date and how well it's established and how thick the canopy is more than anything else.
And Bill Clark from Niab Tag, is there any advice you would have for Antony and James, or do we stick to our plans?
I think that's the thing. We've talked about the growth stages, and we talked about growth stages before, and it's too early to start talking about it being low disease. There's plenty of septoria. It's way down in the canopy. The crops are not especially advanced, so this tweaking the T1 is fine. We've seen little bits of brown rust in here, but the T1 will take care of that. That brown rust, I'm sure when we come back and look at this crop in May, June, it'll be much more lively then. It's been very cold recently, so the brown rust is struggling to get going, bits of mildew. I certainly wouldn't be cutting back, as we said, just tweaking the program just to deal with it. And in a way, because it's being held back by the really drought now, it's giving you more flexibility with that T1 timing. So we've got a good leaf 3 target now, leaf 2 just coming. It's a good timing stage now.
Right, Bill, we're finding a bit of yellow rust in this crop here today. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what's happening with yellow rust on a national scale this year?
Yeah, well, we've seen yellow rust in a whole range of varieties all through the winter, but not as bad as it was in previous years. So I think there was a degree of complacency, people thinking, well, it hasn't appeared, and yet we're in a field here of cordial with very obvious foci. And they've become even more obvious since the T0 was applied. So the T0 spray has stopped the disease, but we've now got a lot of this chlorotic flecking and striping and necrosis. It's just had its T1, so that's going to protect leaf 3 and the emerging leaf 2. But this is a typical example where you can't judge yellow rust as being something that's not going to develop. We've got such a range of races of rust around at the moment. You have to react to what you're seeing in the field, and clearly here active foci urgently required a T0 and a T1. So there's rust all the way from Berwick all the way down to Devon at the moment. And I think it's in a lot of crops at this stage, because a lot of crops are susceptible at this stage, and I think you need to really keep an eye on it, because it's in a lot of crops, and this sort of cool weather is ideal for yellow rust.